What's up, Battletech fans? Today we're doing a little robot JOX action. That's right, we're painting a Crusader to resemble one of the mighty mechs from the movie, The Personal Ride of Achilles, in memoriam of Gary Graham. This is going to be a different style of tutorial than I usually present. I'm going to be layering my way up with dry brushing techniques this time, and this is a fun way to get a sandy, weathered white look, even if your hands aren't steady or your eyesight isn't so great. As usual, all materials you'll need will be in the video description, so let's crash and burn! I started with my tried and true Wraith Bone spray as my base here. In times past, you'll hear me recommend a second light dusting of a different primer when working with contrast paints, but that won't be necessary this time. Keep the spray nozzle about 6 to 8 inches away from the model and work in short bursts rather than a continuous stream of paint. You're looking for even coverage here, but be careful. It's easy to over-apply a spray at this point and obscure details, so work your way up to full coverage slowly until you're comfortable and have developed your own style of spray technique. This is why I don't need a light top coat of primer as I usually do. I don't tend to have the same problems with regular shade that I have with contrast paint where it beads up if I don't hit it with a little something extra for the paint to stick to. Just like with contrast paints, I'm going to grab my Seraphim Sepia shade and go for even coverage here, but I'm not looking to go real heavy with it. I used a normal amount of sepia on my brush, as if I were just shading an entire miniature rather than providing a base color. As with contrast paints, wick away any excess wash with your brush that gets in spots you don't want it. However, this stuff is a little thinner than contrast paint, so it's going to dry a lot faster. Therefore, inspect as you go. For this, I like to use an Army Painter Regiment brush, but honestly, any sort of sable brush around a size 3 ought to work. Now I'm going to have some real fun. This is a super easy process that anyone can do, even if your hands aren't as steady as they used to be. However, I'm going to do this in reverse order from the color with the sharpest contrast to the color with the least. With Morrow White from Privateer Press, I use my standard trusty large dry brush to hit the entire miniature, even the undersides. The reason I want to start with something so bright is because I don't want it to be bright in the end. Yeah, I know that doesn't make any sense. Here's how it works. When I lay down this super bright white, it lays the foundation for the other two colors. Don't worry about hitting every single edge with this. There's 2 more layers to it, so if you miss a little here or there, it's not a big deal. I'm going to dry brush Wraith Bone over top of this now, and that Morrow White is going to catch nearly all of it, giving me my second layer of weathering and further blending the colors back toward the ultimate direction I want to go in the end. Use quick, even strokes with the brush and go any which way you choose. This isn't an accuracy game. You're just trying to nail as much of the miniature as you can each time you do this. Also, don't wash your brush in between these coats. You want to let all these colors kind of commingle together to create something extra that you wouldn't get out of a stock product. The last color I throw on here is another P3 flavor called Hammerfall Khaki. This is where I switched brushes, since I was only looking to really highlight the edges of the miniature with this color. I don't want to totally eliminate the visibility of the others, so it's a final touch, not something to change the color of it all. This is the end color I really want, and it'll be my third layer of weathering. The khaki really ties the end result together, and with a combination of these 3 colors, you can achieve a pretty sweet weathered white look, like it's been fighting out in the desert. My classic 1-2 punch for metallics is Leadbelcher and Nuln Oil. Normally I'd say pick your spots and get to work, but there's ample areas for you to do here, lots of vents and things. You have a lot to choose from, but leave the hands the way they are, since those didn't seem to be metallic in the movie. I cheated a bit by using metallics in spots to avoid having to paint solid black in those areas. I hate painting solid black unless I just have to, because it's so unforgiving. You're going to want to give these areas about 15 minutes or so to fully dry before applying the Nuln Oil. If you don't wait long enough, you'll just have sparkly water, and that's not a fun time for anybody. Go easy on this. These areas are so small that oftentimes it's easy to put too much on and obscure the details. Work your way up. It's always easier to add than it is to take away. Now we come to the part where you gotta go slow and make every move count. I took a lot of creative liberties with these stripes because the ones from the movie are just simple roundabout circles, and that seems kinda generic to me. So I figured I'd come up with some fun symmetrical stripes, and I'd make them a bit thicker than the movie for a more cartoonish and 80s mecha look. I thinned down some Evil Sunz Scarlet for this, and used something close to a 20-0 brush, just working my way outward to get the lines to my desired thickness. I'm gonna cheat a little bit here on the black stripes and do something a bit different since they're so thin. I'll get to that later though. Take your time here. This is just one of those zen moments where you gotta go through it if you want to have the stripes. Trust me when I say it can be done, even if you're only doing it little by little over multiple sittings. Eventually, you'll get there. This stuff really does have 101 uses, which is why I call it liquid skill. What I'm doing here is just filling a few crevices with Nuln to give the optical illusion of black striping without actually having to draw a ton of really thin lines and just hope I don't mess up, Legend Killer. Just add a pin drop amount to the end of your brush and use the brush to place the liquid in the crevice. Physics and gravity will do the rest of the hard work for you, as the liquid fills the area and appears as a thin, black line. Exactly what I want. And even if it's not done in several circles on various parts of the mech, I feel like these get the point across without being too heavy-handed. See what I did there? And we're done. I did the cockpit with a combination of Lothern blue and Soulstone blue technical paint. The base is Martian Ironearth with Gryph-Hound orange and Fuegan orange, dry brushed with Kindleflame. Other basing effects by Army Painter. If you like what you've seen so far, do us a big favor and subscribe. Turn on all notifications so you can find out exactly where Battlebound is going to turn up next. Once again, thanks so much for watching. I'm Tuckdavian, and I'll see you next time right here, out on the Space Lanes.
Be sure to smash our like button and subscribe to our channel.
Crowdfunding is when lots of people give you small amounts of money to help your passion project come to life.